Hey, it's May 8th, and had a couple of people ask me how I built this winter fig box. So I'm just going to give a quick demonstration of how I've built it. So I have some other videos that show it in the middle of winter time and how it protects the fig. This is more just about how we built the box. So I've got the south side off and the roof off. They've been off for about 3 weeks. The temperatures are sometimes getting down to 0 Celsius at night, but these fig trees can handle that. So yeah, it's just 4 sides. They're only attached together temporarily for the winter, and they come apart in sheets. Take you around. Well, first we'll look at the insulation. This is 2 and an eighth right there. It says 2 1/8 inches thick, R10. It's like a gray styrofoam. It's glued to the plywood. You'll see the plywood on the back side soon. And taped along the joints with tuck tape. And then just in case the glue doesn't always hold, I've got big screws that are longer than the styrofoam is thick. They go through and they have a washer on the end, a big washer here. It's 1 inch wide. I think they're called fender washers. And that is just perfect length to go through the styrofoam and bite into the plywood without going through it. So that's just a couple, and there's a couple on each corner just to hold the styrofoam in as well as the glue, make sure it doesn't come off. And so this box is 8 feet long by, I don't know, 5.5 feet tall. And so it's a big area. You'd think that would take a lot of heat to heat it in the winter time, because I keep this no colder than -3. We do get quite a bit of -20 and sometimes as cold as -30 degrees Celsius here. Now this winter was pretty warm, and it had a little space heater in it with a temperature sensor that turns on at -3 and turns off the heat at 0. So it keeps it just slightly frozen. And this Chicago Hardy fig can handle that temperature no problem. And then my other fig here is the Negron, and it handled it just fine as well too. You can see it's just starting to leaf out now, really green and healthy. It's still very small, but it should take off this year. So those temperatures were good, and I think with the large area inside here, it allows all the ground warmth to come up and mostly keep the box warm. I might have overdone it actually with the 2 inch styrofoam, because I had a meter on the hydro, and I think the light bulbs and the heater rarely ever came on this winter at all. I couldn't really measure any hydro use. So if you put that much styrofoam on, you probably don't need any heat or very little heat. I did find it got quite humid in here. Most of the year it was at 99% humidity. So on drier days I would open this door. I built a door this time, and so you could just prop that open and let some fresh air get in the winter time. And it's just neat to be able to open the box in the middle of winter and take a look, see what's going on, make sure there's no mice getting in there, and that the light bulbs and the heater are still working. Yeah, so this side has a door. That probably is a source of losing some heat. The seal's not perfectly tight, but good enough. And like I said, I don't think it hardly uses any hydro. It's just sitting on the ground, and this is here's the plywood. So this is just 1 sheet of plywood, 4x8 sheet of plywood, and then I had to add this 1.5 foot piece above that, and then so it's 8 feet long, the size of a sheet of plywood. So fairly basic design, and you would build it for the size you want. This is for 2 fig trees, but if you just had 1 fig tree, you'd build it a lot smaller. Although I do find with the all that ground space, it really keeps it pretty warm. Yeah, so it is screwed down into this bed. There's a bed frame. These are raised garden beds, and it is screwed down a couple times into here. There's no skeleton. It's just the 4 walls that screw together. This 2x4 is cut in half now, so 2x2. It's just to hold these 3 sides up while I had the south wall out. So they'll come out now, and then this will all store flat. It'll still be fairly big, but you can kind of flat pack it and put it away for the summer. And then I used 2x3s. I believe they're 2x3s. Or maybe I custom cut them. I can't remember if they were 2x4s that I custom cut. Just so they're the exact same thickness that yeah, I guess they're 2 1/8 thick then, same as the styrofoam. So it's all flush, the 2x4s that are cut down to the styrofoam, so it's all flush there, and it saves a little bit of weight too. These panels are kind of heavy with almost a sheet and a half of plywood plus the styrofoam on there and some 2x4s that hold it together, so it does take 2 people to set it up. I do have a smaller box. My older box there is just for 1 tree, and it's quite a bit smaller, kind of built with scraps of plywood. It didn't have quite as much insulation, but it's worked fine. I've had that one since 2018, and this is new this year. I guess the last thing I would say, the roof is gone right now, but it's the same. It's the gray styrofoam plus 1 extra sheet of 1-inch pink styrofoam glued to that as well too. And you're going to lose most of your heat up through the heat rises, so it's going to go through the top. So I made that piece a little bit thicker. You can see the fig tree is actually taller than the box, so I do prune it in the fall time when I have to put it in here, but you can also bend these down and so get a little bit more height. This is probably over 6 feet tall that I can winter this at. Okay, well, I hope that gives you some ideas if you're thinking of building one of these. It's kind of expensive for the materials, and the heat was pretty much free, or very cheap, and it is a bit of labor to put this up every fall and take it down, and then you got to think about storing it for the summertime as well too. Other than that though, it works great, and you do save some labor by not having to bury these. I used to bury the fig tree when it was smaller. It's quite a bit of work, and didn't always work. I used to lose some branches. Or the other option is to keep the tree small and keep it in a pot, bring it into the garage or into your basement for the winter time. This method allows you to keep a fairly large tree over the summer. Just one method. There's lots of methods, but this one has been working good for me for the last 4 years. I hope that helps.